Sirens fade behind you on the 405, Doppler stretching into the smog. The cooler in your passenger seat sweats through duct tape seams packed with ice and something that costs more than your whole family's house. Your burner buzzes once. No name. Just a pin and a timer. 6 sightseers. You keep both hands on the wheel even though your palms won't stop slipping. You're pressed, but you can't show it. Not even to yourself. One wrong lane change. One busted tail light. One CHP unit. Bored enough to fish. And the cargo stops being cargo. The question that sits in your throat like a hook. How do you go from this being used to the one using everybody? You take the off-ramp by an in-and-out where the lot is empty except for a Tesla idling with no driver. You don't park next to it. You park 2 rows out like you're just another broke night shift ghost eating air. You pop the trunk, lift the cooler like it's nothing, and you walk. A man steps out from the shadow of the palm trees. No face, hoodie, mask, clean shoes. He doesn't ask your name. He doesn't check your eyes. He checks the cooler's seal. Then he checks your wrists, your neck, your pockets, checking your paperwork without paperwork. He slides you an envelope. It's light. You already know what that means. You don't open it here. You don't count. You just nod like you belong. You get back in the whip and drive until the shaking stops. Later, under a gas station light in Southgate, you count it. $420. Not even 5 bills. For a run that can put you in the ground or in a cage. You tell yourself you're only stuck in the mix for a minute. That's how it starts. Level 2, the floor washer. You work under someone else's rules in someone else's building. A rental house off a cracked Central Valley frontage road where the dust never leaves and the neighbors never look over the fence. You don't ask what happened in the back room. You don't need to. The smell tells you. The streaks tell you. The drain tells you. Your job is simple. Make the space look like nothing ever got active here. Bleach, trash bags, gloves that rip at the thumb. You scrub until your shoulders lock and your stomach goes flat with hunger. They pay you $150 and a warning. Don't talk, don't post, don't bring your girl around, don't ever come back without being told. You nod like you're grateful. You are grateful. That's the part that scares you. Level 3, recruiter. You stop being the mop. You become the guy who knows a guy. You ride Bart like you're going to work. Hoodie up, eyes down, scanning reflections in the glass. You get pinged on encrypted messages you don't fully understand, just enough to obey. Names come as initials. Locations come as cross streets. You meet desperate people under LED signs that never shut off. Oakland, Koreatown, a parking lot behind a 24-hour donut spot where the security camera happens to be pointed at the dumpster. You listen to a story you don't believe, then you act like you do. Everybody's got a reason. Rent, child support, a sick mom, gambling, a habit. You don't judge. Judgment is slow. You move fast. You take photos of IDs. You compare faces. You ask questions that sound casual but aren't. Checking paperwork the streetway. Does their story match their hands, their teeth, the way they flinch at sirens? Your cut is $900 per warm lead. You think that's bands until you realize what the people above you call bands. Level 4, the Kohler Mule. Now you're really putting in work. You run biocoolers from the Bay down to LA in regular traffic, sitting next to families in minivans like you're all going to Disneyland. You time it around construction and rush hour because getting pulled over is worse than being late. You keep your burner in a Faraday pouch and pretend that makes you safe. You keep your eyes on the mirrors for anything that follows too steady. You stop twice, once for gas, once to breathe, because panic makes mistakes, and mistakes get you replaced. At 3:14 a.m., you pull into an industrial strip by the port of Long Beach. The air tastes like diesel and salt. Containers stack higher than most people's dreams. A forklift beeps somewhere deep in the dark. A gate opens. Nobody waves you in. You just know which lane to take because the last guy who didn't know ended up missing. The handoff is quiet. No threats. No yelling. That's how you know it's serious. They pay you $6,500 cash and a hotel key. The key isn't for rest. It's for staying close in case they need you again before sunrise. You start sleeping in your clothes. Level 5, the clinical extractionist. You stop touching coolers. You start touching outcomes. Your clinic is a sterile room built inside a shipping container that looks like every other container until you step in, and the air changes. Cold, filtered, chemical clean. The kind of clean that makes your skin crawl because it doesn't belong here. You wear gloves. You wear a mask. You keep your voice flat, You learn to treat people like inventory without letting your face show what your stomach does. Everything runs on time. Not your time, biology's time. Clocks matter. Temperatures matter. Labels matter. A single smear, a single misread number, and somebody rich ends up angry. You hear a radio somewhere outside. Spanish music. Low. You hear a forklift again. You hear the ocean like nothing in the world is wrong. Your hands don't shake anymore. That's the part you don't forgive yourself for, even when you pretend you don't care. They pay you $32,000 per successful cycle. You start buying silence, better apartments, tinted windows, cash-only everything. You tell yourself it's security. It's just comfort in a place that never gets comfortable. Level 6. The logistics architect routes/mind control. You stop being muscle. You become math. You sit in a high-rise in DTLA, where the lobby smells like money, and the elevator cameras don't recognize you, because the building system updates right when you walk in. You don't ask why. You know better than to ask. You keep a whiteboard that never has real names on it. Only codes, blood types, compatibility notes, distances, time windows. You balance supply and demand like you're moving sneakers, except the clients don't complain online. They sue, they threaten, they disappear people. You coordinate ghost shipments that don't show up on consumer tracking apps. You don't brag about routes. You don't even say the word flight out loud. You just make sure a package leaves one side of the state and shows up across the world like it teleports. Safe houses become part of your grid. Stucco rentals in Anaheim, a condo near the marina in SF, a farmhouse outside Modesto. Some are storage, some are recovery. Some are just places to keep problems quiet. You are always on two burners, one for your set, one for the people who never say where they're calling from. You start getting paid like a person who can't quit. $180,000 a month plus bonus envelopes that don't get listed anywhere. You don't celebrate, you just sleep lighter. Level 7. The money cleaner. Your hands stop touching blood. Your hands touch contracts. You manage fronts that look boring on paper. Medical equipment rentals, wellness staffing, transport services with clean logos and fresh wraps. You learn which banks ask questions and which just want deposits that don't bounce. You hire people who think they're doing normal work. You keep them happy. You keep them blind. Payroll always hits on time because late money makes employees talk. When someone gets curious, you don't threaten them first. You offer them a raise. You offer them a title. You offer them distance from the dirty parts. People love to accept a lie if it comes with benefits. On bad days, the feds knock on the wrong door, and you watch body cam footage later like it's game film calmly, clinically, because panic is for level 1. You move $4.7 million in a week without a single wire that looks suspicious. You feel nothing about it until you realize that nothing is becoming your normal. Level 8. The corpore Efreker. Now you handle your own people. You don't run around with a gun like a movie. You don't need to. You carry a quiet authority, paperwork, leverage, recordings, relationships. You know who's skimming. You know who's using. You know who's thinking about talking. When a crew gets sloppy, you don't rage. You isolate the leak. You pull them into a conversation that feels like HR but ends like a funeral nobody attends. Rival crews test edges. Cyber units test systems. Somebody always thinks they can slide in and take a piece. You respond with pressure, not noise. Accounts freeze. Cars get towed. Leases get canceled. A man wakes up unemployed with every friend suddenly busy. Another man disappears from the group chat, and nobody asks why, because everybody already knows. You protect profit margins the way neighborhoods protect territory only. Your territory is spreadsheets and hospital waitlists. You earn $1.2 million a quarter, and the money doesn't hit like it used to. It just sits there like proof you're too deep. Level 9. Isolated boss. You don't live in California anymore, but California still lives in you. The freeway hum, the helicopter thump, the habit of watching exits. You operate from a place that doesn't show up in casual conversation. A private island hub with its own airstrip, its own staff, its own rules. Nobody calls it a headquarters. They call it the house, like it's normal, like it's family. You don't touch product. You don't touch cash. You touch policy. You influence shortages by nudging systems that already fail. Quiet donations, quiet meetings, advice offered to the right people who like to think they're in control. The legal pipeline stays slow. The legal list stays long. Prices stay high. Everybody pretends it's just bureaucracy. You look at the numbers and see biowealth flowing like oil. You see the world split clean, people who get to buy time and people who get sold by it. You should feel untouchable. Instead, you feel hunted by the idea of karma wearing a badge, or a rival with patience, or your own body deciding it's done. At night, when the ocean outside your window goes black and flat, you realize the reward isn't freedom. It's a golden cage with guards you pay and a door you never test. And somewhere back in California under a gas station light, or behind an In-N-Out at midnight, or in a dusty rental off a Central Valley road, a new kid keeps his head down and scrubs a basement floor for $150, trying not to gag, telling himself it's only for a minute, while a cooler sweats through duct tape seams in the trunk outside, and the timer on a burner starts counting down from '06 wands.